to another fun-packed, thrill-filled edition of Nice Things.
Nice Things.
The antidote to modern living. And joining me this week, Sir Michael Livesley, we have...
Word up, mofos. My name's Paul Carmichael. Hello.
What's with the hat?
Well, it just looks a bit like, you know, the shopkeeper in Mr. Ben.
Yes.
He's got a hat a bit like this.
Has he?
And I thought it would distract from the tank top.
Yes. Oh, I
so
see.
the whole ensemble is designed to confuse.
It did. I was
There
totally
we go.
distracted. I hadn't even noticed there was a tank top there.
There you go. I'm literally sat here
Fiendish.
dressed as though it's 1942 and you didn't notice because of the hat.
That shirt would have been too loud for 1942.
Oh, this wouldn't have gone with this at all. But I can imagine this, you know, in 1942, I can imagine I would have been in Wet the Day Well or something. Except
The Sullivans.
it would have suited the Sullivans. If I'd have been in Went the Day Well, I would have killed Thora Hird, I think. Just as you know that sort of thing about Hitler, where people say, if you could see Hitler as a baby, would you kill him, right?
Yeah.
Well, what about if it was Thora Hird on the set of Went the Day Well, right? And the reason for this is, and you may not be aware of this, because
I
of
know
obviously,
you've told me.
an ITV house and all that, but praise be. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, no.
Praise
Dreadful.
be with Thora Hird, right? So
Can I
what
just
you've
say
got
my
to
mate
imagine?
had a really shit joke that I'll tell you if you want.
Okay, tell me.
Thora Hird related. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, here's the joke. You ready?
Ready?
Thora Turd stood in it. That's the gag.
That's pretty good.
Thora Turd stood in it. There you go. Anyway,
No,
go on then.
that's
Anyway,
right. No,
praise
right.
be fucking
Praise be.
hell. The
Right,
nadir
okay.
of LWT, or is it Yorkshire?
Oh,
Weekend.
no, because obviously, this is the thing. ITV, you had Highway with Harry Seacombe. Immortalised, I remembered this week, yeah. There's a spitting
John
image
Thompson.
song about Harry. Is
John
it?
Thompson as Harry Seacombe in Vic and Bob's Christmas Night In.
Oh, God, yes.
Do you remember when he's in the garden and it's like, there's a car-coated beast in the garden, Vic? Oh, what is it? And
Yeah.
they go out and it's John Thompson being Harry Seacombe. And
Yeah.
he's just stood there and he won't look at him and they're like, all he's doing is going, what? And highway.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I do. Oh,
How
God.
How good.
But on Spitting Image, they had this song about Harry Seacombe, and there was a line in there which was, he's the crap one from the Goons. And I must have been
fair,
about
isn't
12 when I heard that. And I thought, thank God, I thought it was just me. Because I used to listen to the Goons. When they'd repeat them occasionally on Radio 2, I'd have a listen. And whenever Harry Seacombe came on, you go, oh, no.
I know, arsing about.
It's a bit like Clive Dunn in Dad's Army, arsing about. He arses about too much, Clive Dunn.
Yeah.
He
I'd sort
does.
of give Clive a pass though, and do you know why I give Clive
Why?
a pass? It's simply for that very rarely sighted beast that is when Arthur Lowe says, "I fear we've entered the realm of fantasy here, Mr. Jones," or whatever he says.
Right.
I love that line about we've entered the realm of fantasy.
Yes.
And just the way Arthur Lowe says it. But no, you're quite right. What were you just saying, though? Let me just go back a step. You were on about Clive Dunn. You were on about... Who was it arsing about? What the fuck are we talking about? You see?
Anyway.
You got all Clive Dunn. Harry Seacombe.
Harry Seacombe,
The
right.
point
So
I was
you'd
going to
have
make...
had...
Can I just make this point? That a 12-year-old boy understood a 30-year-old comedy reference. I'm just saying, I would have been exactly the same.
No, yeah.
But do you not think that speaks to sort of the way the world has changed? I know we were unusual, odd boys. I get that. But we knew he was the crap one from the Goons.
I think what it comes down to, right, is there was a distinct lack of stuff being made for us when we were younger compared to now, okay? If I think about my own kids when they were little, okay, from birth, well, I mean, before CBeebies, you've got baby TV that they can sit in front of. Then you've got CBeebies and all these other things. So they are thoroughly catered for. They don't have a moment, to be bored, if that makes sense. They're
all
permanently
bored.
on... Yeah, that's it, because there's just too much. So your attention span gets shorter, and I think what we had was not very much kids' TV, right? We'd get 3 hours, not even 3 hours,
Yeah,
2.5
maybe.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay?
I see where you're going.
It didn't really matter what was on, it was yours, so you'd watched it. I used to hate Record Breakers, right? I hated Record Breakers, but I would watch it. I know. I'd watch it.
I watched it too, and Animal Magic and all that shit. Do you know
Animal
what?
Magic, I hated it, but I always watched it.
Dreadful.
Just Sea Lion, I fucking hated it. Yeah.
Terry Nutkins. He kept.
Yeah, but he had a sea lion called and it was called Jeremy. And Johnny Ball sang a song to it. Jeremiah. He's swinging through the sea. Right, and they're in Bristol in studio. They've got a massive swimming pool for this sea lion that just doesn't know what the fuck is going on. You've got Johnny Morris singing, conducting a small orchestra. This is all happening live, and Terry Nutkins just looking confused. But I watched it.
What's not to like?
I know, actually.
As we were chatting, do you know where I reckon a lot of my sort of awareness of this stuff came from? Chat shows. So you'd watch Parky on a Saturday night and Spike would pop on, or whoever would, Peter Cook, whatever, and they'd show old clips. And that stimulated conversation with your own family who were older, because you're like, what's this? I mean, I remember, what would it be that I saw it on? I think there was like a retrospective of Spike, late 80s on the telly, maybe.
Maybe.
I think there was an arena or something, you know? One of those jobs. And in that you saw things like a show called Fred, with him and David Lodge and Peter Sellers jumping around in buckets and stuff. And you were just like, what on earth is this? So I don't know about yourself, but once you'd exhausted the family, it was down the library. It was like, right, let's get the old Halliwell's Telly Guide out. When they withdrew that book, the woman gave it to me at the library. The Halliwell, she said, here, you've had this out so much.
I think I paid 10p for that. And I've got my ITV Encyclopedia of Television Sci-Fi, which is a mighty tome as well. That's wonderful. Mostly incorrect as well.
Oh, yeah.
It has to be said.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Almost all the details. Yeah, I mean, this book, it looks so worthy. And then you go to Lost in Space and it says it ran for 89 episodes. You go, no, it didn't. That sort of thing. Just basic.
To be honest with you, now I've been involved in the sort of, the creation of stuff like that. I know exactly where those errors come from. I know exactly where it all comes from. It's crazy. But I had, what else did I have? I had another book, a TV book out of the library. I can't remember what that one was. But that was your next port of call, wasn't it? You exhaust the family recollection.
Yeah.
You've been tantalised by the clips on Parky or on... He had a great chat show, Bob Monkhouse. Do you remember that on was it a Monday or a Tuesday night on BBC Two?
He did. Oh.
He had them all on. Because that's the one where Frankie Howard tried to goose him. Wasn't it 30 years after the first time Frankie Howard tried to goose him?
That's right.
You need to put this ointment on for me, or whatever it was, the line.
Yeah, something like that. That's mid-80s, that show. Oh, I'd like to see that.
I thought you'd sent me one, maybe you didn't. Someone sent me an edition with someone really cool on, but I've not had the time. You know how it is.
These know how it is. I do know how it is. But, no, I mean... I think it was partly that, and certainly the library was a big thing. I found that the library at Chilled Wall Five Ways in Liverpool, I loved that.
What was yours
to the
like,
extent. My what? My library?
Ours was kind of... Have you ever heard of that American economist guy who was also an architect? God, his name will come to me. He designed those modern houses, or whatever he was called. It'll come to me, his name. Our library was like a modern structure. Do you get what I mean? So it looked like something off the telly. Sorry to talk over you like that. You've just
no.
It's exploded in my head.
No, absolutely. I mean, our one was a modern one, and I quite liked it because there were circular parts and there were sort of outgoing parts, and it reminded me of Pebble Mill. As seen on Pebble Mill at
like
one.
that. Yeah.
That sort of look, wasn't it? There was quite, 60s, 70s and so on. Quite a prevalent look, really. All gone now, of course. Like Pebble Mill, the library is now long gone as well. It was shut down. Cuts, library shut down, library knocked down.
I-
But that library, what I remember about it, I remember the sound of the library, because obviously you're not allowed to make any noise, and that has a sound all of its own. I love that sound in the library. And I loved it so much that when we had to do forced to do work experience for a week, I got in touch with the library and said, can I do mine here? And I did, and do you know what? I bloody loved it.
Hush puppies and that.
I loved it. Oh, it was absolutely lovely.
Buckminster Fuller. Buckminster Fuller was the chap who designed all those 60s buildings. Really strange things you saw turn up in sci-fi movies. Our library had a pyramid on the top, glass, which was kind of like a Buckminster Fuller thing.
Is it
Buckminster
still there,
Fuller.
your library?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's weird going back to where you're from, isn't it? Because the school I went to and the church are gone. There's a new church there and a new school, but part of our school was still prefabs that were chucked up in 1948 for 5 years or whatever they were meant to be, or something like that. And
we had a wing of prefabs, but then because there were more kids and they needed to accommodate us, so then they added to it with the mobiles, these mobile classrooms. 2 of the bloody things
we had
stood
them.
there. God, they were freezing. Absolutely
made a
freezing,
man of you.
Oh, it did, yes. But when I went back last saw that school is pretty much the same. Whereas my senior school, bizarrely, has been moved to the right, which seemed an odd thing to do. So we used to have sort of the school and then the playing field. And now they've taken the school and put it on the playing field. And where the school is playing field.
It's just bureaucracy gone mad.
It really is, dear.
Do you know, because your
really
hat's
is.
red
Yeah.
and the wall's red,
Yes.
it keeps looking like a crown.
Oh, does it?
Do you know? Oh, does it? I see.
Oh, no,
Oh,
it does.
the vanity of the Carmichael.
If it happens to look like a crown, I have nothing to do with it. I hadn't noticed it was the same colour as the room.
You haven't
when I
noticed the new
purchased it
room?
for I have noticed the new room. It's very nice. Okay.
Yes, I'm enjoying it up here.
Absolutely. So we've got Viv, we've got Get Carter. Oh, we've got the Radio Times covers. Have they come off the stairs then?
Oh, they've not been on the stairs for years and years.
Haven't they?
Yeah. No, I put all picture rails in downstairs. I don't want olds in the wall.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah.
Got them all
replastered. No, that's very nice. Dear.
There's a big
there
stack of stuff there that you can. The corner.
Yeah.
There's a big stack of stuff that's got to go up yet. But I'm going to do some writing. That's what I'm going to do, boy.
Excellent.
I thought space to write.
I think that's a very good idea.
You know,
I think that's
don't know if I'll write anything.
No, but you've got the space to do it.
I've no excuse, have I?
No excuse, but also, I think that the key thing about writing is just to,
Right.
Well, no, not even that. No, when I used to write for live TV, I would spend about 40% of the time wandering around going, around the place, formulaic crap that I was writing. There was no need for any of this sort of soul searching. I think it was more that I couldn't be arsed. And then it's a weird
one, though, isn't it? Because you've got so much that you could write about in your head. Oh, you know what I mean? The actual practice of sitting down. I mean, Neil Young, his dad was a journalist. His autobiography isn't a stimulating read. It's full of stuff you want to know because it's Neil Young. Waging Heavy Peace, I think it's called. Can't remember. But his dad was a journalist, and he said as a kid, all he remembers is the noise of the typewriter in the loft. And his dad would he just used to say, just sit down and do it. Yeah. You might do 2 hours of rubbish, but then you'll get at it.
No, absolutely. I mean, that is, like I've said to you before, I think probably on here, the best advice I ever got for learning lines, rather, was just bloody well get on with it, Louise Jameson. And quite right, yeah. There's no point pontificating, just learn the damn words. But a
man who wears a crown on a public forum would pontificate.
I think he would. I think
prevaricate.
Which brings me back to Thora Hird.
Stood in it.
She did. So, Praise Be.
Oh,
right?
man. Right, yeah,
so
I remember now.
I want you to imagine this, right? So, you've got Songs of Praise, which I'm fairly sure wasn't a regular thing in your house. But
No, we watched that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm afraid. I hated Songs of Praise, man.
Oh, I'd been to church already that day. I didn't
Totally.
need it on at 6:35 on BBC One.
Top up.
Oh, absolutely not. However, when it came to sort of like, I think it was in summer, Songs of Praise would go off for 6 weeks, and it
Summer
would be
special.
replaced by Praise Be, right? Thora Hird.
Oh, do you know what I thought you were on about?
Go
I've
on.
just realised. I thought you were on about Hallelujah, the
What?
sitcom with Thora Hird and Patsy
No.
Rowlands were the Salvation Army women.
No.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. That's dreadful. That's dreadful. Oh, actually,
Praise
that's
Be is Thora without period costume, looking really shrunken like a little turtle, and
sat in
going,
her
"Ooh, God
armchair
and whatnot."
with a cup of tea. That's it. And she's like, oh, I've had a letter. Oh, thanks, love. And all that stuff. And then, oh, praise be. She said this to Thora. That's nice, isn't it?
Do you know
Here
what?
they are. Oh, I hated it.
That should hit all the right sort of nodes of pleasure for you and your cozy vibe, right? But let me present my thesis.
Okay.
I don't think Thora. I don't think she was sincere when she said thanks. Do you know what I mean? I never believed Thora Hird.
Right. I don't
anything.
think she was being sincere with any of that praise be stuff at all.
I don't think she was
Any of
being
it.
sincere in any performance, though. Do you know what I mean? That's a controversial opinion.
Well, this is controversial. So, all right. Well, let's think about
I
performance.
love In Love in Memory. Don't get me wrong. I love In Love in Memory.
So are you saying that she's always aware that she's acting? Is she one of those people who can't detach? Right, she does that in Went the Day Well. Okay, I swear she's like that. Everybody else is playing it naturalistically, and she's had to go, oh, I'll just do a bit more character than everyone else, and I'll be a bit more Thora than I need to. Oh,
Got it.
it was too much.
It was
too
like
much,
in the
Thora. Dial it down.
In The Entertainer when she turns up. And it's just like, I mean, she's not a bad shout for the character, obviously. You know what I mean? But I never believed her in anything. I think In Love in Memory worked simply because it was the kind of format that she could do that in. She was kind of... even Hilda Baker was fine in Nearest and Dearest. Do you know what I mean? Even Hilda was believable.
Jimmy Jewell would have said no, but yes.
Ah, man. I know, but that partnership worked. And Jimmy Jewell, is just one of those... You just say the words Jimmy Jewell and I'm just like, happy.
Do you know what? Wonderful stuff the other day. Still wading through Give Us a Clue. So many discs of it. Jimmy Jewell's on it. Oh, and it's perfect because obviously they don't do retakes. Okay, so and they've got the VT clocks on, so you see that it just goes straight through. And at the end of one of his, Lionel Blair doesn't get it, and Jimmy Jewell just goes, "Oh, bugger it!" really loudly, and it's just left in. Oh, it's wonderful.
Ah, man,
love him.
Jimmy Jewell's just such a great. I don't know what it is. There was a very cozy world, the cozy world of television.
But here's the thing, right? I think Jimmy Jewell, as a performer, right? When I watch him in Nearest and Dearest, obviously he's aware that he is acting because he's got to do it. He's doing it for camera and he's doing it for audience. So it's got to be slightly heightened so the laugh gets past the camera so that they laugh at it so that we hear the laugh, right?
Oh, sometimes he looks down the lens.
Oh,
honestly,
absolutely.
he's shameless.
He will play it up all over the place.
Have you noticed him repeat the line if he gets a laugh?
Oh, yes.
Right, I'll do it again then.
Yep, absolutely.
It's great.
But he's obviously performing.
Oh, totally. Yeah? He's music hall.
Right.
When he turns, so is she.
Yeah. Now there's an episode of The Avengers that he turns up in, right? And again, even though it's on film and all that sort of stuff, he's obviously acting. He's obviously doing the Jimmy Jewels. Yeah. And yet, I don't want to burn things down like I do when Thora Hird does it.
I know. There's
What's
something
that about?
about. I don't know. I put it down to that insincerity. I don't know what it is. There's just something very cartoon. No, caricature.
When I was very little, I thought she'd murdered her husband. Because on Praise Be, right, she was always reading letters out, and she'd talk about her husband, and he was never there, okay, because it was just one shot, a bit like I am now, you know, of her there in the two-piece with a letter and a cup of tea, in a fucking china cup. I hated her for that. But she'd always refer to her husband, and he was never there. And in my brain, I started to go, well, why doesn't he ever just come on and say hello? And eventually I thought there's only one logical answer here, which is because we saw the daughter, who was called Jeanette or something. Well, she was on bloody everything. She was on Praise Be. Husband, never seen.
I don't remember the daughter. I always remember seeing her in that chair and thinking, oh, I bet it stinks of piss in there. You know what I mean? That's the sort of floral chair, old folksy home vibe. That you know, you could smell the piss through the screen. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to smell piss. I've just had my Sunday dinner, you know.
Exactly, not on a Sunday at 6:35. In the summer as well, it would have been in the summer.
But Sundays were shit for telly. Apart from that Wurzel Gummidge slot in the afternoon. What did you? I mean, I know we've covered this. We've beaten this subject to death about telly on a Sunday when we were kids.
Yeah.
But it was always a film, wasn't it, in the afternoon?
Well, here we go.
That could be tolerable.
Right, but we've got the ITV BBC problem here, haven't we? Raising its head again.
Very much so on a Sunday.
Yeah, because you would get Wurzel Gummidge or something like that. I would get something meaningful and performed by children from the Anna Scher School.
What is this new world you speak of? What are we talking about here?
Right, so you'd get drama, always set in Victorian England, okay, about some children having an adventure, and it starts with the Phoenix and the Carpet, and they bang that drum until about 1991.
Now, is the sort of the Carmichael calculus coming into play here? Are these children who have taken your work?
I didn't turn the work down as I did for Why Don't
However,
You?
someone should have known via osmosis.
Somebody should have known
to knock
that,
at your house.
Yes.
And say, "Love, we've got a part for you here. You'd be perfect for."
Television Centre.
Then
6
you'd have
weeks.
to think about it.
Hmm.
You're not saying yes straight away.
Just a day or so. And then,
Day or so.
Yes, I will.
So
I'd
you
have
tell
to
the man
watch
to
them.
come back.
Yes.
You tell the man, all right, give me 2 days. And then come
Drive back from London. Drive back from Television Centre, and I shall inform you of my decision. There we go.
So otherwise, you can't watch it.
No, and I still can't watch these damn things with these children being slightly. Oh, they're awful. They are awful little shits.
I remember them.
I hate them.
But funnily enough, Box of Delights gets a pass, and the kids
Completely,
in that are
yeah.
super annoying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that does get a pass.
Pat Troughton and Snow.
There you go. Robert Stevens.
Oh man.
Robert Stevens, pissed out of his head, thrashing about in a canal.
Let's not go down the Box of Delights rabbit hole. What have you got that's nice this week, young man?
What have I got that's nice? Well, I'll tell
man.
you what I'll tell you what I've got.
Got to let you hear from Aggie
Yeah.
in Cleethorpes.
Oh, look at this. He can't come on camera because he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Suspicious.
We went there, didn't we, Roy, or whatever he was called?
I can't even remember. He was so unimportant. I'm like, oh, Jeanette. Jeanette was always bloody there. Anyway. So.
But to sort
However,
of rinse the stench of stale piss out the air,
yes.
I will give you an example of someone who could have been just as insincere but was never anything less than brilliant.
Go on.
Beryl Reid.
I was thinking of Beryl about 5 minutes ago.
Well, they're kind of a little indivisible. Beryl Reid could have gone horribly wrong, but just never did.
She could have. Well, I mean, but then you've got Thora with a china cup of tea, or just piss,
and Beryl with a G&T,
and Beryl with her G&T at 9 a.m. Okay, you've got that.
Yeah.
You've got lovely. But I always think, because of course Beryl Reid Beryl Reid is cast as the lead guest star of a 1981 Doctor Who, which is basically an action movie, that one. And it's shot like an action movie. They've put it in the biggest studio in Europe at the time. It's brilliant. And there's Beryl Reid in command of it. And I think it works. I think she's brilliant in it.
It really does. I mean, did I tell you the story about my mate who delivered a sofa to her?
No, go on.
Yeah, so it was like 9:30 in the morning. Knock, knock, knock. He obviously noticed on the docket, oh, Beryl Reid, okay. So Beryl Reid comes to the door to take delivery of her sofa at 9:30 in the morning with a G&T. And he said it was like, and it's just a brilliant story that you wish you'd had yourself. You know what I mean? Just to encounter Beryl Reid. Brilliant.
Oh, they found an episode of Workers' Playtime recently from 1942. Workers' Playtime used to be this thing where it was a presenter, a couple of comedians, and a BBC light orchestra band, and they'd go up and down the country, and they'd just do the show from a factory canteen.
Isn't it Tommy Hanley, the one they've found?
No, that's Itmar. It's that man again. They've got most of them. Workers' Playtime, they've only got 6, and it was on for over 10 years. But the one that they've just found recently, 1942, and there you have, doing her brand new stand-up routine, Beryl Reid.
Wow.
And I've got to say that 80 years later, it's still pretty good, actually. There's bits in it which I laughed at.
Fantastic.
Absolutely wonderful.
I wish they'd make a doc about Beryl Reid. I mean, them days are gone. They wouldn't dream of it now.
No. I mean, a drama documentary. Well, I mean, The Killing of Sister George is a perfect bit of film. I mean, oh God, it's good. And the fact that it uses ATV television cameras for this on the set of the soap, I love that. The fact that they are so obviously taking the piss out of, bizarrely enough, a soap opera called Weaver's Green, which was made by Anglia, which is famous for the fact that nothing happened. Literally nothing. There are 52 episodes. They all exist. Nothing happens.
Have you not got them?
I've got 3 episodes. Nothing happens.
Yeah,
Kate O'Mara's in it. Still nothing happens. How do you have Kate O'Mara in something and nothing happens? The woman make things happen. You know, she's wonderful.
You'd have thought so.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go. But Beryl Reid, wonderful.
Nice thing you got this week.
Nice thing, though. However,
yeah.
So what I've obviously I've been into the old vinyl since lockdown, because I don't remember, but I think it was 24 hours before the lockdown. I popped out of work and I went to Richer Sounds and I bought the record player because I thought, no, need that. It was one of those moments where you go, no need, really needed.
Okay.
So
I don't remember the proximity. I remember you doing that.
Hence the vinyl sort of thing. However, now I'm rediscovering another love, which is for cassettes.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't be doing this.
What?
Don't be going down the cassette route. Well, I'll tell you why. I'm currently buying a very expensive cassette deck, right?
Right.
But that is for, work.
Pornography. Oh, work, yeah.
Yes, transferring cassettes. Don't tell me you've fallen into the listening to cassettes for the fun of it rabbit hole.
Right.
If you have, I've got all the rumpoles with Maurice Denham like that if you want them.
Oh, I love them.
But you've got to have a very nice tape deck. The tape deck I've bought, it sounds as good as CD. It's a Denon one.
But I don't want that. I want it to sound like a tape. Do you not want that? That it still sounds... No. Right, it's the whole... Again, and I was explaining this to the woman in the shop I bought them from. I said, you've got the whole sort of almost ritualistic thing with a record of lifting the arm and placing it down and all that. But you've got all the ritualistic things with a cassette as well. You've got the fact that at some point it's going to end up spewing the tape out and you're going to have to get a pen and you have to wind it all back in. Oh, that's lovely. Having to do that.
It's what we refer to in the business as volatile memory.
It's no more volatile. Right. I
It
can
is.
think in my life. No, I can think in my life of 2 cassettes I've had that have got totally bollocks. One was Genesis of the Daleks, which went in orange juice, knackered, and another one I left on the dashboard of my dad's car, melted, knackered. That's it. Okay.
Volatile
Hard
memory.
drives. Hard drives.
Oh,
I've had about 7 that have broken.
don't rely on them. You've got,
Right. So
always got
where
to
do I
have
store
backups
my stuff these
on
days? then?
other hard drives?
Right, but as somebody once said to me, there are only 2 types of hard drives. 1, hard drives that have broken. 2, hard drives that haven't broken yet.
Correct. That's why you
So
have
we
to
need-
have everything. You have everything backed up.
Right, so you back it up, and then what do? You have to buy another one to back up the backup when that one breaks.
No, what you do is you constantly have your backups there, right? And then if one dies, okay, you switch to the backup and you replace the backup.
You don't get that with tapes of Joyce Grenfell.
No,
And
but
it's not gonna break, is it? It's not like it's not gonna stop working. It's not like it'll blow a fuse or a bit inside it'll stop spinning. It just plays tapes.
But if it's something that is precious, you don't want to lose it.
Well, no, but on the other hand, I mean, if I were to lose that, I'd lose an hour 40 of Joyce Grenfell monologues. Whereas, if my 12 terabyte hard drive dies,
Precisely,
That's-
but you know, that's why you back the damn thing up.
well, I haven't got another. That's the problem, right? I started with a 500 gig terabyte or something, filled that up. Thought, that might break. I'll copy everything over onto this one, but that one's a bit bigger, right? So I'll fill that up with slightly different stuff. Oh, now I've got 2 of that and only 1 of that. I better get another one.
You know what you gotta do? What you gotta do, Paul, is go all in. The 12 terabyte. Get the 12, right?
Right.
Clone your drive to it. Okay. Then you've
Clone.
then got a backup.
Do you mean copy? Does that mean
Yes.
copy?
Well, you just
Right,
clone the entire drive in one hit. So it's an absolute clone of your drive. And then you have your software running that every night it scans that hard drive for changes. Anything that it wasn't there the day before, it copies across. Bish bash bosh. No problem.
Again, this is easier.
No. But I mean, I'm talking in relation to work, dear.
Right? Oh no, absolutely. Then that makes sense. But I think for pleasure, do you not miss making? No, hang on. Do you not miss the whole thing of making mixtapes for people?
Not really. I haven't
Really?
done that in many, many years.
Right, but I bet you if you were to do that, I bet you if you were to sit down with a blank C90, right, and make a little mixtape, I bet you'd enjoy it.
But they were always part of a courting ritual anyway, weren't they? You'd give that to a girl or your girlfriend. Just so,
Yes.
this will save us a lot of time, my love.
That's it, yeah.
Here's where I'm at.
Here, this is
Yes.
what I think in somebody
Yeah.
else's words.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And if it was someone you were trying to chat up, they would all be songs that said what you were too shit to say.
No,
Jim.
absolutely,
So,
yeah.
So yeah, that's got utility. I get that, but I mean, you know, I suppose you'd have to WhatsApp a Spotify playlist to a girl these days.
It's just not the same, you see.
Yeah,
is
but
it?
you go round with a pocket full of tapes around the nightclubs,
Right.
dancing and that, and you're like,
Yeah.
here we go, my dear. My number's written on it. My one concession to the 21st century. Ha 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 ha. Right. She'd just look at it and go, what do I play that on? So then you've got to have a boot full of, oh, bloody hell, go and get another cassette player out the boot. Right. It just prolongs the whole ritual. And then she'd need an amplifier. Unless you got them little ghetto blasters. You could have a boot full of ghetto blasters, couldn't you?
No, because at the end, because what you've then got is a situation where this woman goes, all right, I'm going to click your Spotify list. And, oh, I'm not keen on this one. Skip. Oh, go back a bit. And it ruins the whole thing because you can't sort of like, you know, I used to crossfade them and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh,
Right. All that stuff. You can't do that with a Spotify playlist and someone can just jump through it.
No, I do agree, and I like the romance of it, and I'm very sentimental about those. Very sentimental about those times. But I get the vinyl thing, obviously. But cassettes, no. I always
I'll tell
considered
you-
cassettes a poor man's version, full stop.
Okay, I'll give you a perfect reason as to why this is a wonderful thing. Okay, and it's this one. This is Scoop by Evelyn Waugh, read by Tony Britton. That won't be on CD. Now then, maybe it's a coincidence. It's a HarperCollins. It's not on CD like Tom's.
Yeah, loads of the ones I've got on CDs.
So there you go. There is no other I couldn't sit there and go online and say, I want to hear Tony Britton read Scoop.
Well, you've given us an ideal link to the current times, inadvertently.
Have I? Oh.
Yes. Watched a film the other night, new film, called Scoop.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, hang on a
Have you not seen it?
Oh, there we go. Spot of cramp. Anyway, Scoop.
Yes. It's about the Prince Andrew interview.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's very good.
Is it?
Very, very, very good. Yeah, Gillian Anderson as Emily Maitlis is frighteningly good.
Gillian Anderson is
Oh, no, she's brilliant. No, totally.
Yeah.
I get that. But when you see her doing Emily Maitlis, you're like, fucking hell, mate. It's weird. It's almost comparable to Albert Finney as Churchill. It's not a... it's not a sort of impersonation. It's just
an embodiment.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And Billy Piper's great in it.
Oh, I mean, I think sometimes when you get those... when people just inhabit the person. Yeah. Oh, I love that when that happens. So I do want to watch that. Gillian Anderson, though, I think... I can't think of anything she's been in where she's been shit.
No. Apart from some of the X-Files, which are shit.
Well, some of them are, yeah, but I mean, it ran for about 11 years, so
then they brought it back.
They did.
Anyway, that's good. That's good.
Yes,
watch that. And Rufus Sewell as Prince Andrew, brilliant.
Oh,
it's
I
really,
do feel
really
I might
good.
have to watch this.
It's really
I'll tell
good.
you what. See, I would watch that, but I found another film that I want to watch, right, which is called The Dig. Right, it's on Netflix.
Haven't you seen this?
Well, I think I saw it, but I can't remember.
The shagging in the graveyard or something.
No, this is about No,
yes,
this is about
Fiennes or something.
No, this is about digging up Sutton Hoo, not shagging in a graveyard.
So many faces. I don't know. I remember you were on about something last year.
Oh, that was that dirty thing. Everyone's going, oh, that's awful. What's that called?
Saltburn.
Yeah.
Has that got Ralph Fiennes in it?
Don't know.
Join us again on the Alzheimer's Express.
Yeah. Anyway, no, The Dig, right? So The Dig is basically the story of the archaeological dig at Sutton Hoo. Ooh.
Is there much shagging in it?
I don't think there's any, especially not in the boat when they first find it. I think it's just more of a light romantic, well, not even romantic, just a heartwarming British film about a thing that happened.
With Thora in her chair.
It could have Thor in it. Maybe she'll be sat there playing the skeleton of the discovered warrior king. Something like that.
Maybe so.
That would be hideous, though. But
all right, so The Dig. All right. So
I'm going to have a watch of that.
You watch that and report back.
I will, but I've got some breaking news for you.
Okay,
and that rarely happens here, does it? We're normally about 40 years behind. Here it is. So, I've lost it. Oh, hang on, here we go. Right, breaking news. Okay. Making a return to your screens after an absence of, 33 years? They've recommissioned Bergerac.
Nice. John Nettles?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Are you joking?
No, not John Nettles.
Bugger off then.
Right.
I knew it wouldn't be.
Right. So, hang on, let me get the story up. So, it's being made...
with Paddy McGuinness.
Oh, God, imagine. It wouldn't surprise me at all. It would not surprise... He'll turn up in it somewhere.
Hey.
Right. So, 6 episodes, which are going to be shot on Channel Islands and Jersey. Written by Toby Whithouse. He's done various things, apparently. Bergerac will be based on the original series created by Robert Banks Stewart, which starred, past tense, John Nettles and ran for 9 series on the BBC. The modern reimagining will honour the iconic detective drama, but with a contemporary twist, as Bergerac thrown into a knotty, high-stakes police investigation and challenged to his very core. He will be forced to confront his demons whilst trying to save his family and career. This sounds like shit.
Yes.
Bergerac was just a chap. He didn't have any of that nonsense going on.
Oh, no. You needed Charlie Hungerford in it. And then
That's
the occasional appearance of Lisa Goddard coming out the sea.
As the
that
Ice Maiden.
That posh diamond thief woman. That's all right. I'm like
Louise
so
Jameson.
down with that. Perfect.
Now, I know that Louise Jameson got killed in it, but she could come back.
Well, if Falstaff can do it.
Absolutely. Which is one of the best things in the world, isn't it?
Exactly.
Oh, you like him? Oh, he's back. Didn't you kill him? Doesn't matter. He's back again. Well, that brings me to a nice thing.
Go on.
Which is this book, which is my current read. Shakespeare's book. Now then, this is a book not about Shakespeare. This is a book about the first folio. So basically, and it's fascinating, because if you think about it, how much of a ball ache is it? For example, let me put it like this. If one were working on a project where you had to gather together all sorts of different artistic performances from various places, you had to make sure everyone was happy with you putting it all in the same place, pay the rights, do this or that. How much of a ball ache is that?
Oh, massive. Especially pre-internet.
Right, so it was no different in the early 1600s, and of course they wrote everything down. So this book, basically, it's the most just phenomenal bit of research. It's documenting all those arguments. How did they buy the rights for Pericles off this person? He wouldn't let them have Richard III. Did they just steal that version? All this stuff put in there. But what's lovely, I'll tell you this, for any of the Oxfordians watching, is it reminds you of how much we do know about Shakespeare. And it's fascinating because he's written about when people were interviewed about him, when people talked about him, and it's all written down. So essentially, there is an awful lot of what I would say was primary evidence.
Okay.
People who knew him, So,
how many years after he died was this?
Right. So, well, no, but this comes beforehand. So there's one here, which was to do with a version of his plays that were published illegally in 1612. So 4 years before he dies. And there's a big apology for printing them under a name of another, that is Shakespeare, which may put in the world any opinion I may steal them from him. So, but then he talks about Shakespeare's own feelings on this book that's been published. The author, Mr. Shakespeare, I know, is much offended with Master Jaggard, that's the bloke who published it, for presuming to make so bold with his name. So you've got stuff like that, and you suddenly go, these are people talking about, going, oh no, he was pissed off, he told me. So adds weight to, takes not things away from this idea that he wasn't who people say.
Well, the whole thing is that Shakespeare was a play broker. That's one of the components. So a play broker would also be pissed off if you printed something that they'd printed without.
But we know who the play brokers were.
Well, apparently there was one called Shakespeare or Shakeshaft or something like that.
They're discussed in this book. They're all talked about because you have people who were there to do these sort of things. But he's there listed as an actor. He's listed as a writer. There's so much stuff, and this book is sort of pulling them all together. All these little things where he's been talked about, what sort of a bloke he was he of a good humour, and all this sort of stuff. And it pulls them together where people have said, oh yeah, with this, all written down when he was alive or within 5 years of him dying. And it's always that thing, isn't it, with Shakespeare, where you think that, we haven't got that much evidence. And then when you do a bit of a dive, you go, oh no, actually there's shitloads. There is
Well, I will take your word for it. I don't know anything really.
I think you would enjoy this book. It's quite a detective story, but it's just research.
It looks
coming
big
to light. It does. However,
is it big print?
Well, it's not big print, but I'll put it like this. I was worried about that, dear, but then see all that there.
Yeah.
So that much of the book, the last 100 pages is just notes and appendices.
Right.
And there's 50 pages at the beginning of maps. So
Okay.
it's not that big a book when you get into it.
I just want to read the books I have. Speaking of which, Moz's book table this week. Got
Oh,
a
yeah,
couple from there. So, Laurie Lee, bit of a punt. I like
You
Cider
can't go
with
wrong with
Rosie.
Laurie Lee. Cider
Well,
with
I
Lee,
know.
Rosie is wonderful.
I like Stuart McConey's pun on it, on his one of his books, Cider with Roadies, which I thought was a pretty good pun.
That's pretty good.
Bit of Von Daniken. You got to have some Von Daniken.
You've got to, I mean, bless him for being mental.
Yeah. Was God an astronaut?
Although, well, there's enough to suggest that there's something in that theory, isn't there?
Oh, tons of stuff in that theory. I mean, Von Daniken's production company are the ones who make Ancient Aliens.
No.
That's who makes that series. That's why Eric's in them all.
Ah, right, I see. Okay.
But the real jewel in the rough, you know, I dug through the mountain of Kuntzes and Cooksons atop the book table. People give a lot of those books away. I wonder why. Have you ever read Dinar Kuntz? Any good?
I haven't, but I had a great uncle who used to write Mills and Boon books.
Oh, right.
There you go.
That's a plot of one of the Bertie Wooster stories.
Is it?
Yeah. One of his
I was about to start rewatching those. I haven't watched them in ages.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, but the film prints are in terrible condition.
They're
all washed out. Oh,
Yeah, but I
they
mean,
need to sort those out, Granada.
Yeah, it seems to become unloved, Jeeves and Wooster.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Strange, though.
Yeah.
It's all shot on lovely film, and then it's just washed out, and you think, come on, get that on Blu-ray, for Christ's sake.
Oh, it's
That
such
would
a
be
good
beautiful.
series. Such a good series as well. Is it Clive Exton who dramatised them all?
It is, yes.
Yeah, brilliant. The Jewel in the Rough.
Yes?
Doomsday,
There we
Michael
go.
Wood. I like Michael Wood.
I love Michael Wood. Now, Michael Wood did a series in 2002 called In Search of Shakespeare, and it is the best series on Shakespeare ever done.
There you go.
But what you've got there with that book, my mum bought that book in 1981 when it came out.
God, is it that
So
old?
I know. I think it is, yeah.
Why does he
Have a
look
look in the
exactly
front.
the same on the back?
I can't remember, but
The
I
man's
love
never aged.
He hasn't, has he?
No.
The hair's gone a bit grey.
He's
but
got a portrait of himself in the loft, no doubt.
oh, I love that book. That book, I can feel that book in your hands. If that doesn't sound strange.
Sounds very strange, dear.
Does sound
1986.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh well. Because my assumption, God, I can remember it being around, but it's based on the series I think called
Yes.
In Search of the Dark Ages, which is
Don't know.
now
It says
available.
A Search for the Roots of England. Maybe that was the
Yeah,
subtitle.
but yes, but no, the series is In Search of the Dark Ages,
Right.
and it's available now on DVD. It's very good.
I've
It's all
bought
about
lots of
Offa
DVDs.
and
lately.
Arthur. Well, I mean, you could say no to Michael Wood. I wouldn't.
Michael Wood, you wouldn't.
Michael wouldn't. No. So yeah, no, that's lovely. Did you get anything else this week? There we go.
I have devoured that in a week. I tell you what.
So for the benefit of those listening only, we should just say that Michael has just held up his Blu-ray of Faulty Towers.
My God, it is just superb. I'm watching them with the commentaries on, as I said last week. It's just the conversational style that Cleese has.
Yeah.
He must have been talking to someone.
But he doesn't stop. So
No.
maybe if there was someone, it must have just been someone who was not talking and just nodding. I think it's... Look, Faulty Towers is sublime. I hope to God he doesn't go ahead and remake or do new episodes, as he keeps saying he's going to. That wouldn't work.
But it's
That
never
would not
happened.
work.
It seems years. Wasn't it with his daughter?
Yeah, but it came up quite recently he was going to do that.
Oh, did
but,
it?
Yeah, oh yes. But for me, that programme, I think the development's lovely. So you've got... The first episode is shot basically as a pilot, and it feels like a pilot. And the plot of the first episode with Lord Melbury and all that feels a bit contrived. it's an episode where you go, oh, okay, I'll just accept this. Then you get the next 5 making up the proper 1975 series, and they're beautiful. But when it comes back in 79, now there's a show with power. I mean, for a start off, you've got Cleese, who's able to say to the BBC, they're not 30 minutes long, they're as long as they need to be. And that's why The Psychiatrist is 38 minutes. And they haven't cut it down. It's all there, 38 minutes long.
To sort of contextualise it, he does the series in 75. Then Life of Brian. Then that huge tour, that world tour they did, which is where Hollywood Bowl comes from.
Yep.
Then Fawlty Towers. Wow.
It's amazing, really. That's
it's like Eric,
series.
isn't it? You look at Eric's output in the 70s as well. And, 1978 is the Ruttles and Life of Brian and Live at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah. It's stunning.
What?
It's absolutely amazing what they do there.
It really is.
Yeah, and I think that with the most amazing thing about it, of course, it's him and Connie Booth, and he always says Connie Booth does not get the credit she should have got, for the writing of it when it comes to the plotting. Apparently, she was just a whiz with plotting. 1975 series, they're married happily and living in their house. 1979 series, they are in the middle of divorcing and living in a separate half of the house each, coming together during business hours to write it, and then going into their own halves of the house.
I know.
And they turn that out.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's amazing. It is an amazing story. And the interviews on that 3rd disc are brilliant. You know what I mean? It's amazing that they're still such friends.
Yeah. It is really. But, I mean, again, I think that's an anti-modern thing, isn't it? I think these days everything's got to be so public. So if you have to break up with someone, it's all got to be on Facebook and shit like that. Back then, we could be proper.
Very English about things.
Yes, very English about things. Okay,
yes,
darling, we're going to divorce. You live in that half of the house. See you tomorrow to write the programme.
Yes.
Sounds all right.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Very, very mature people.
Oh, God, yeah. But
I've not opened
I love
this
it.
yet.
Have you not?
I've not opened this yet.
Oh.
I know. And do you know why I've not? I've got to think about what to do with that sticker.
Yeah.
That sticker is lovely. What did you do with that sticker?
I've got the sticker. It's up there on top of the family at war. I just sort of very carefully cut it out. I haven't decided what to do yet. Type and space. Should we talk? Do you want to talk about this, or should we wait until you've opened it?
Well, I'm opening it.
I think we should wait and let you read.
Oh,
this.
yeah, totally. It's just
because
that sticker's so well considered.
Isn't it?
I think it's going to cover the apple on this machine.
Oh, lovely! All of the things that you get from 10 Acre, though, they always have little things like that. So it's like you get when you buy things from Etsy. Do you buy anything from Etsy ever?
I bought my Victorian clothes made from Etsy.
Ah,
yes.
See, Etsy things always come with little extra things, because people give a shit.
They did. Yeah, it come with a bottle opener because the company do cast iron.
There you go. Isn't that lovely? I think people on Etsy, Amazon.
People on Ecstasy. People on Ecstasy are generally very
generous.
Nice,
yeah.
Yes.
No, Amazon are very good at going, what do you want it? You want it now? Yeah, it's on its way. Yeah. Like that. Yeah. But Etsy basically, you can have it in 6 months, but I'll put a yam in there.
Well,
that's lovely.
That's it, isn't it?
I like that.
There we go.
Is it? There you go.
Yeah, that's
there
we
are.
Now. That's
So, but apart from that, dear, I had an incident with a workman this week.
Oh, aye.
I wasn't expecting.
What's that all about?
Well, there's a knock at the door.
Yes.
There's a knock at the door, and I'm just sat on the sofa. I'm in the Beagle lounge pants.
What's
What?
What's not interfering with yourself, I hope.
No.
Yes,
No. I was just in the lounge pants and my kimono, and I'm watching a Downton Abbey Christmas special. Anyway, there's a knock at the door, right? But it's like a heavy knock at the door, like boom, 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 that workman's knock. There you go. Look at that. So I go to the door, and there's a chap, and he says, "I've got your pallet." I said, "Right." I said, oh, is it a big pallet? And he looked at me as though there was something wrong with me. I don't know what you want me to say here. I said, will it fit through the door? And he said, no. I said, right.
Was this more
said,
DVDs? A pallet of DVDs?
No, it was a thing, a plant pot. Right, a bloody plant pot. Just nothing huge, but on a massive, massive pallet. So he said, I'll bring it round the back. So I had to go out the back. I'm still in the kimono, open the back for him, right? And then he turns up, he trundles along, and he's got this pallet with this thing on it. And then he says, I'm not really allowed to take it off the pallet. I said, what? I'm not allowed to take it off the pallet. And I said, right, can I take it off the pallet? And he went, oh, yeah. Right, okay, that's fine. And it's all strapped down with stuff. And then he went, have you got a knife? And I went, not on me. No. Do I need to go and get a knife? He said, well, you'll need a knife. So come back in, get a knife, and I cut the thing off. And at that point, he's on his phone, and then he goes, oh, I've just Googled it. It's only 20 kilograms. You'll be fine. So I was right, okay, thank you very much. So I leaned down, picked my pot up, turned round, position it somewhere. By the time I turn round, he's sticking this fucking giant pallet through the gate, and he goes, where'd you want your pallet? And I went, do I have to have the pallet? And he went, yeah. So suddenly I've got a massive pallet, and I don't believe him.
What, did he have a little truck with it on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he could have taken the pallet back.
Yeah.
I don't believe that at any point did I agree to buy it to do a pallet.
No.
I think the man was trying it on.
Men will. Men
I
will
don't expect
always
this.
try it on in that capacity. You know they will, because I suppose he's done the calculus and he knows that if I take the pallet from here, it goes on the truck. When I get back, I've got to take the pallet off, put it in the pile, fill out a pallet return form. Nah, fuck him.
What I need is some bloke who's wearing beagle pyjama bottoms and a kimono and, I can hear he's watching Downton Abbey. He'll do.
Yeah, of course. He'll know that in a physical confrontation, you would come off the worst. Or you might be like a sort of martial arts expert in your kimono. Could go either way.
It wouldn't go that way. Absolutely not.
Well, he probably assessed the situation correctly then. You're having a pallet, boy.
Right, well, here's the thing. So I'm left with a pallet. Then I'm like, what do I do? So I'll take the pallet round the side, because I said, do you want it? Does anyone want this pallet? Take it round the side of the house where the recycling bin is, and I'll lean it against the house. There we go, that's fine. In the night, someone comes along, sees the pallet, thinks, who's put that there? And moves it very inconveniently, so it's on the front of the house.
That's what happens. I
didn't like that. So then I arrange for a man to take the pallet away. The man turns up and goes, where's the pallet? And I'm like, no, now somebody's stolen the pallet. It's ridiculous.
And did the man want money for taking the pallet?
Oh, he did want money for taking the pallet to the tip.
And did you have to pay the man?
Not yet. I'm hoping he doesn't ever come round again.
Right. All right then. So you've got away with that one.
Well, I've got to hide now forever in case he comes back.
For his £5. How much did he want to take at the tip?
£5. That's.
How did you find this man to take the pallet?
He's the gardener as well.
Oh, the gardener.
Why
didn't you say? You have a gardener.
Well, no, look, he doesn't do much. He just comes in and does the things I don't want to.
Okay. That's everything then.
No, like moving heavy things. I don't want to do that. So he can move the heavy things and things like that. I'm not going to chop anything up because I think that's just stupid. And I know that you enjoy it, but something needs to be invented. Because when you chop things up, you have to bend over. Because the thing you're chopping is on the floor, right? If it was on a table and you were chopping it, you'd destroy the table. So naturally, it's on the floor.
Well, that's why you have trestles. You have trestle tables. That's for chopping stuff up on. They're like an
trestle
X
masks.
Shape. They're like an X shape.
I'm aware of a trestle mask.
And you see that bit in the middle there, where my fingers.
I don't know. What are you talking? What are you doing?
Right.
You're doing. Here's the church. Here's the steeple. Look inside there.
Right.
People.
Look.
I don't know what's going on.
Do you see that?
Right.
Right. Imagine that's a load of like planks, right? Let's call them planks. You'll get that. And these are planks, right? And you make an X-shaped thing with them, a frame.
Right.
And
Right.
the wood sits in the junction of the X, and then you don't have to bend down, and you can chop at it.
These will all be the same length. The
Yes.
planks.
Yeah.
Not like your fingers, because they're different lengths. Got you.
Got you. Yeah, and that's a
Where do you
table
get one of
designed
them?
for chopping stuff in.
Where do you get them?
Well, you make them. I've made a couple.
How do you make
You
it?
make
have
them
to
with
chop things up
pallets.
Well, I can't now. Somebody's stolen my pallet.
You see, there you go.
It's been a crime wave round here lately. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's what happens when you have a nice postcode.
I know.
The interlopers will come in. So aside from that, this week, I have bought Les Frighteners. Thanks to Mike Hodges' direction on Get Carter. And last week when we were talking about Get Carter, I completely forgot to mention, because there's so much to talk about with that film, John Osborne's in it. As Kinnear, the villain of the piece. And John Osborne goes back to acting. This great thing, because the producer was so good at just getting people. He talks about that. Michael Klinger his son talks about getting Bernard Hepton out of retirement.
Now that's the thing. Hepton out of retirement.
Yeah.
Before Secret Army, before any of that stuff.
But as we remember from his obit, do you remember from his obit
checking
how much he'd done?
So much. And of course, one of the main things that he'd done was he produced the BBC's soap opera Compact. And that's the strangest thing. The first time that I was watching an episode, and there's the credits at the end, produced by Bernard Hepton, BBC Television. You go, Bernard Hepton?
I think Bernard might have been a little bit frazzled by the end of the 60s and decided that's enough.
That's your lot. Absolutely.
But thankfully, he tempts him back.
Oh,
and we know the rest.
God he did.
We
do.
But yeah,
we absolutely do.
Strong start on this. I don't know if you've watched the first one. I sent you a capture of that section where Tom Bell's just walking around some very dystopian looking estate in London, and
with the two kids playing,
and the
two kids playing silently. It's just like, oh God.
And the old couple on the balcony, and the sort of juxtaposition of the heavy industry and the shunting carts bashing into each other. And then the whole really kind of quite rich, filmic 70s thing ends with Brian Glover shouting, "Get up!"
Yes.
Brilliant.
It's wonderful.
Brilliant. But I've only seen that.
The way it's shot is just beautiful.
And I returned to the archives this week.
Yeah.
Back to the archives, back to the 80s, and gave Bomber Harris a spin.
Oh, okay. I've got it here.
I know you
haven't done that yet. There's my copy. Yeah.
Very interesting, yeah. Especially the bit, because lovely, they've got Robert Hardy in to play Churchill, who is very much a caricature. He's not doing an Albert Finney job at all.
Oh God, no.
And
Robert Hardy is doing Robert Hardy as Churchill, and you know it.
He is.
Yeah.
And he tells Harris, John Thor, he says, "You got to bomb Dresden, I promised Stalin," and all this other stuff. He's like that. And so Harris reluctantly agrees to bomb Dresden. And then as soon as it's done, Churchill puts out a statement. What does he call it? A war terror or something like that. Very strong. Anyway, none of those guys ever received any honours or any medals or anything like that. The public blamed. That's why he's called Bomber Harris. It's such a sort of... Yeah, it's an interesting story. If you don't know the story of Bomber Harris, get it down, yeah. It's a good story.
Okay.
And John Thor's very good in it. But they're all very good in it.
It's right there. It's a way to
And you've got
rainy
Frederick
day.
Treves in there.
I love Frederick Treves.
Love a bit of Frederick Treves. So, I recommend you give that a spin, dear. It's very, very low engagement required. It rolls over you, really. It's that smeary, what would you call it, 1-inch videotape, late 80s.
Yeah, 1 inch. What year is that? Is that about 1989 or something?
88, 89.
There you go. It's 1-inch videotape, so we've got less bang for your buck when it comes to 625 line.
Well, one thing I noticed in that the other night, and it's something I remember noticing on telly around about that time, is and you might be able to explain this, maybe it's 1-inch videotape, but you see it going darker and then back to normal light and darker.
Yeah.
You just see that.
That's a product to do with editing.
Is it?
Where you get that, and I've never fully understood what that is.
There's a rush of it, isn't there? Late 80s, early 90s.
There is.
And then it stops.
Everything's on VT, so all of a sudden everything's on VT. So we're outdoors, we're VT, studio, we're VT. So what you've then got is the difficulty of balancing up your light levels, okay? You can light for film and make film look beautiful. You don't have to worry about making film look realistic. So look at the way that the opening episode of The Frighteners is shot. It's shot to look beautiful and dystopian. It's not shot to look realistic.
Do you mean those titles?
Well, not that the titles are something else. No, I mean the stuff with the car driving around the estate.
Right.
It's brutalish. When you get into studio, you can match acting styles, you can match everything, but you can't match the look of film and VT. So they don't try. However, when you've got VT outside and VT inside, there's an attempt to make them match.
Yeah.
And it never works. It never
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Whereas the other two, you can't do it, so they don't. Film looks like film, video looks like video.
You've got to see the first episode of that John Thor vehicle, Mitch. The one where it's in that...
the snow.
Winter of 1981. Yeah, it would be 81. You've got to watch that. Just that first episode. The series is okay, but I like John Thor. I can't help myself. I've always liked John Thor.
No, that's fine.
Again, it's like Jimmy Jewell and Beryl Reid. He's one of these people that's just nice.
Yes.
He's good in that. It's a good series. It's good play, that is. One I want to watch is on YouTube. It's another Dinsdale Landon that's turned up. And it's a play for today, again. And it's the chemical composition of ethanol, the name of the show. It's like H2GO. I can't remember what it is. That looks good. He's just sort of...
Okay.
He just looks like... Yeah, he's in a dressing gown, but unlike Martin Freeman in Hitchhiker's Guide, it's Dinsdale Landon. And there's no stupid two-headed aliens around.
None of that Church of England humour.
Yes. And what if Nigel, he's got two heads? No. Zaphod Beeblebrock's my actual arsehole.
Zaphod.
Whatever.
Zaphod be fucking hell.
What did I say?
Oh, Zaphod. We'll get complaints from the two people who listen.
Good.
Yes.
I've only seen it written down. Of course.
Really? Well, of course. There's the trouble. You need to watch that. You do need to watch it. Peter Jones's voice. Peter Jones. Peter Jones. Oh. Yeah. Something that you do need to watch, and I'm going to make you buy it, is The Guardians. You need to watch this. 13 episodes made in 1971 by London Weekend Television.
Okay,
and
you've already
it's a story filmed in 71, set in 1981, when Britain, like Spain, has entered into a military dictatorship with a puppet prime minister. Your puppet prime minister is played by, don't let me forget his name. I've forgotten his name.
Alzheimer's Express. It's in there. Like Buckminster Fuller. It's in there.
He's brilliant. This week I've watched him in The Cedar Tree, The Omega Factor,
The Seed of the Tree.
Seed of the Tree. No, what's his bloody name? Oh, come on.
Don't think about it. It'll just pop back in your head.
I'm thinking about it. Right. Okay. Anyway, so it's set. So basically, that's it. You've got the Guardians, who are like a military secret police who run Britain.
Right, okay.
Right.
Oh, this sounds good.
Oh, this is right. There's an episode where you've got your guest cast alongside your regulars. One of your series regulars is Gwyneth Powell, Mrs. McCluskey, very young and foxy. So you've got her, and you've got your guest cast for the episode: Dinsdale Landon, Peter Barkworth, and Graham Crowden. All in the same episode.
You can't have them in the same frame, surely.
They are in the same episode, and it's just... And none of them are holding back.
No.
It's like they've been in rehearsal, and Crowden's clearly gone, right, up we go with the Crowden
and
stuff.
so has someone, and so have all three of them.
Dinsdale Landon gets into studio and he goes, right, well, how far can we go with the character? And the character's just doing all this stuff. It's mental, but it's so good. It's so good. Wilfred Grettrex, Rex Firkin, London Weekend Television 71. It's beautiful stuff.
Okay.
I know it really is. I can't remember his name. I'm going to have a Google.
How much is it?
Get it for about a tenner.
Oh, that's all right.
On sex. So it's worth it. I'm just going to put this in. Rexwell Omega Factor.
Oh, I love the Omega Factor. God, that's so
Well,
cool.
it's the bloke there. Cyril Luckham.
Oh, okay. Isn't he the
Cyril
White
Luckham.
Guardian or the...
He is the White Guardian.
Yeah.
And in this, he's the Prime Minister, who's basically only there to be a puppet for the general who runs things. And one day he decides, no, I think I'll start being Prime Minister now. And starts trying to take back a bit of control. Oh, it works on so many levels.
How many episodes?
13.
Okay. Just the one
series, one story. Oh, only ever meant to be. We're going to tell this story. And it works beautifully. But you do get... London Weekend, I think, is a fascinating station when you look at their drama. So you get stuff like that, but also Manhunt. You know, there's an episode of Manhunt.
I've not watched that yet.
When you get to it, it's about episode 20, I think, something like that. There's not one line of dialogue. Not one. For the whole 50 minutes. Wow. Because they're doing a raid on a German factory, and the whole thing that they send to they say at the end of the previous episode is there are listening bugs everywhere. Not a word on this raid. So there isn't. Not one word of dialogue.
Wow.
And it's excellent.
Oh, I look forward to the time to watch all these things, read all these things, my dear boy.
We wouldn't have the balls to make that these days, though, would we?
No, wouldn't have the balls to make anything that's worth watching. That Scoop is good, and I watched something else that's good, and I can't remember what it is. I watched some Pink Panthers over Easter.
Oh,
Easter and the Pink Panther films, it's
go
a
together.
no-brainer, isn't it?
It is.
You know,
they are...
Revenge of with Rossiter. You know what I mean? And Colin Blakely.
That's
it's just gorgeous.
That's Easter at my granddad's house.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you ain't watched that film in a while, seriously get it down. Yeah, it is. And so's Return. I don't like the 60s ones that much. You know, A Shot in the Dark and the Pink Panthers.
Yeah.
When they come back in the 70s, which are sort of regarded as the poor cousins to the early films. Oh, man. I mean... The way that Blake Edwards progresses the stuntman looking less and less like Peter Sellers is just hilarious. You know what I mean? And you can see his face.
Yeah.
It's quite obviously not Peter Sellers. And then he'll get up and brush the flour off him and get back to Kato, like, you know. And then we'll cut to the shot and it's not Peter Sellers.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful stuff.
Great, man. The suit of armour bit in Revenge of. Do you know that bit?
Yes, I do.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Are those on Blu-ray?
Oh, of course they are. But they're all on Prime for free.
I don't know about that.
I won't hear any of this, the way in which you got hold of a copy of The Frighteners. Yes, the less said about that, the better, Bob.
I intend to buy a copy as soon as I can.
Oh, officer, I intend to buy copies of all these shows.
They would see that there are plenty of DVDs.
Maybe that would be taken into account.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's 25 years on Dartmoor.
Well, you never know. Back to work this week? Are you excited?
No.
Why? You should be enjoying sharing your expertise and...
I'm enjoying...
sitting round.
Watching television, yes. And reading and just actually sitting down. Do you know what? I've just realised recently I've not had time to read for so long. It shouldn't have taken me 3 months to get through that book. It shouldn't have taken 3 months, and it did.
Do you know what? I tell you what, yeah. I don't know about you, but this year I have really appreciated the timing of these holidays.
Oh, God, yeah.
Whoever sat down with the calendar and fathomed out when you'd be knackered.
Yeah. Oh, they got
The
it quite
Easter
right.
one, they were like, boom, there.
That one,
man,
that's the one you need.
Been the best break I think I've ever had. And,
Oh, yeah.
And I've really switched off.
Yeah. Oh, I
know.
slept for the first week of it pretty much. And
It's great, isn't it? Well, it's much needed fortitude for the season that's ahead.
for the final furlong.
Well, yes, lots and lots of plays to be produced, and
So
films,
many.
and films.
And films. Oh, we've got a big edit to do, dear.
I have. I have.
Are you looking forwards to that?
I am actually. To be honest, it'll make a nice change from editing.
Yes, that's true.
You know. Well,
Yes,
because it's a different kind of thing. It's something that we made. So it's going to be very interesting to see how, if any of that appalling weather has translated to screen. And but aside from that, it was a grueling, obviously, especially for the cast. Shoot, very quick turnaround, which scenes from was far more achievable.
Oh
No, you got it all shot. Hands
yes,
up.
no need for the Inman gif. We got there in the end.
We got there in the end.
Yes.
So it was a lot of work, and but it really just went all right. I could still strangle you for splitting the kitchen scenes over 2 days. Oh, that's what I wrote on the paper. No. Because doing tomorrow, I have to mop the kitchen, massive kitchen.
Yes.
And then get accused of sitting on the bus drinking coffee.
Yes.
And I just thought to myself, this is what happens if you're a producer, whatever.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's got
Yes.
to be someone who isn't pulling their own weight in any endeavour.
There does.
Now, if you can
Absolutely.
find that someone and it ain't you, that's really useful.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's all right for him sat on the fucking bus drinking coffee, innit?
Yeah.
Knowing I was mopping the kitchen after all them dirty
You were doing an
shoes.
awfully good job, sterling work, mopping the kitchen.
Well, it worked. It all got in the can. Well done.
It did. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
On that positive note, I think that's probably about... I've got some curried beef I want to eat.
Oh, fair enough.
Cooked
I've
in the
got some
slow
beef
cooker.
to go and sort now, yeah.
Oh, sort your beef, dear. Hopefully the
Really,
pallet
I'll sort
man
the
won't
beef.
knock round this time.
I don't want the pallet man back.
No, and you don't have the pallet anyway.
I don't have the pallet, don't have anything.
What's in the pot?
Won't have a fiver soon.
What's in the pot?
What's in the pot?
Thing?
A
yucca.
a red maple leaf.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's
They're
rather
nice.
lovely. I can see it just there. So it does look nice, but it didn't need a man with a pallet coming round telling me that he wasn't allowed to lift it off the pallet, but he could
Clearly
lift
did.
the pallet to throw it through my gate.
Yeah. Yeah, well it's, Thatcher's Britain. That's the way
The
it
man
is.
had an accident. Yes.
Yes, you probably do as well.
So,
So, yes, for bothering me whilst I was sorting my beef
yes.
on the sofa.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, there's the camera. Hello. Okay, then. Well, that's about your lot. We hope you all enjoyed whatever that was, because, God, please, I hope you did. If you're still here. You might have fast forwarded
I'm sure
just
they
to
did,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, of course
They
they
might
did.
have done.
It was solid gold, that Sid. Right, we hope you all have a lovely week ahead, and until the next time.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.